Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast. I don't know. I think 283. I didn't do this.
282.
Really? All right. Well, whatever. I'm ahead in the world here. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Johnny V. However, I am coming in from Thailand, from the island of Koh Samui, and Johnny, he's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing all right. I would rather be in Koh Samui, but ultimately I'm here. I am ready to go. I don't have a co-host next to me. Instead, you're next to me 2,500 miles away or whatever you are.
Yeah, I think it's even more than that, like 8,000 or 9,000. Maybe
9,000.
that's kilometers. I don't know. I didn't do all the conversions, but quick disclaimer: I'm sure I don't give too many of these too often. I am suffering from a pretty significant headache at the moment, and things were a little haphazard this morning trying to get things going. Honestly, 2 hours ago, I thought I was going to be still lying in bed with a ridiculous headache. So thank you guys, everyone, for your patience. If you're coming in live, we got everything set up very quickly, and I for the first time ever, also, I can't see the screen because it's so sunny here. I know, real problems, but I can't even see the screen, so it's going to be hard to follow along tonight. But I am really excited. Enough with all the excuses. Super excited to be here. It sounds like we're going to have Joe Douglas coming in. We're going to be talking to him about a pretty sizable Masters event in just a few moments. And then after we talk with Joe, we're going to check in with our tournament director here on site in Nigel Mills, who's of course running the Samui Swine Classic presented by Innova. So should be a pretty good night. Johnny, I may at some point cut out and let you take over later on in the evening, depending on how things are feeling or how hot it gets here in this ridiculous sun. But super excited that again can be joining you from literally the other side of the world, coronavirus free, here in Thailand.
I was going to wait to make that joke till later, but
I'm wearing glasses and I changed my contacts, so I think I'm good from it has nothing to do with your eyes? No.
There's all sorts of funny stuff going on. It's a virus. It can be. You can contract it via your mouth, your nose, your eyes, probably an open wound. There's a lot of places you can contract a virus from, but specifically, I don't think it travels solely via your eyes.
That's okay. So it's not cornea virus.
It's not cornea virus.
Good. I'm safe. Okay, maybe not.
Sounds like it's a little breezy there, huh?
Actually, I think off in a distance, that's a fan, which I'm surprised you're actually feeling. It's so far away. Maybe we can see if we can adjust that. If it's really affecting the audio, we might be able to adjust that slightly.
Yeah, just a little bit. So
all right, we'll see if we can. At some point, we'll see. I don't have a lot of. It's too far away. I can't reach it. It's all the way over there. But we'll see if we can get that slightly adjusted. So real quick, as we're getting things started here, you said episode 282. Let me what is the weather like in Wisconsin as opposed to where I am?
It's mild. It's about 30 to 35 degrees, kind of depending on if you're in the sun or not, and pretty dry. Typical winter day.
Okay. Travels for me, and I think for a lot of the people, seem to go relatively well. I personally feel like I was one of the last people here to the island, and there was a tournament here last week, and that was going on. The Heisen Brownie, I believe Weston Isaacs took that down on the MPO side. Katka Bodova took it down on the FPO side, and then a lot of the people have transitioned back up to the north side of the island, and I think we're going to have hopefully pretty typical weather, temps in the mid to high 80s with quite a bit of humidity. So that's what I'm going to be dealing with. And as you can tell, again, plenty of sunshine at the moment. So I think we're going to have plenty of that for the next few days. All right. I'm not sure if you have Joe all lined up or ready to go. I'm not there in the studio to double check, but if we've got Joe.
It's 9:15, so I'm going to give Joe a call right now. I told him that's when we'd be getting a hold of him.
Perfect.
All right, looks like we're getting Joe on the line here.
Quickly, as you do that, I'll just say I may stand down every few moments. There is a tournament going on. The amateurs are out here competing here today. They're playing Wednesday and Thursday, and then the pros will play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But right now, the amateurs are out. They've already started their round. There's 2 flights. There's a morning flight that plays the next 2 days, and in the afternoon there's a different flight that plays. And I'm literally inside the circle of the tee on hole number 1. So I'm going to do my best to occasionally stand down, and hopefully we'll see some disc flying in the background, maybe even a celebration, as hole 1 is just 144 feet.
We've got Joe on the line now. I'm just going to say how rude of them to run a tournament during our podcast, but it's
Yeah, I know.
all right. So let's take the minute to bring in Joe Douglas.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
Yeah,
hey Joe, how you doing?
pretty good. So one of the things we're known for, Columbia, is the home of the Ice Bowl.
Johnny, I don't
First
have any
ever Ice
audio.
Bowls here in Columbia. We had ours this weekend. 6 inches of snow. Where's the Ice Bowl out there in Thailand? You know.
Sorry, Joe, I missed you on that first part, but I'm guessing you're talking a little bit about the weather that I'm experiencing here, and yeah, an ice bowl here certainly would carry a different connotation than it does back in most of the U.S. during the middle of the winter. How are you doing today, Joe?
Pretty good. We got everything ready to roll for Selinsky. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, registration opens. If the pools fill, we're gonna have somewhere between 350, 380 players. The big course we got that everybody's looking forward to playing, Harmony Bends. So the master players are gonna be really happy with that. MP40, we're gonna have them playing there 3 out of the 4 rounds, and we're also doing a cut this year. So the final day of the tournament, everybody that makes the cut is going to be playing Harmony Bends also.
And so, as I'm waiting on the tee off, sorry. So to follow that up, there's a couple of concerns that people were talking about from last year. It seemed as if the courses maybe weren't quite up to par with what some people were possibly expecting at the U.S. Masters. But then right away out of the gates here, you're telling me you're playing Harmony Bends. That's come in as one of the highest rated or the highest rated course for a number of the past few years. So right off the bat, that's got to be pretty exciting for both the staff and for the players, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. We can't wait to improve the experience, and we reached out and got feedback from a lot of people who play the pros and the AMs, and there was a lot of things, and I don't think it was just last year's Selinsky. I think what a lot of it comes from is just a lot of the pros are recently turning 40, and in the pro side, the game has gotten so much better. The events, the bar's just been raised so much higher, is the way I'd put it. And I think that they're starting to realize, hey, let's not forget about raising the bar on the master side as well. So the key thing is just making things more professional. And also I think a lot of that goes into just having tee times. And we did a lot of debate on, the old school mentality is let's do what we can. Let's do shotgun starts. Let's get as many rounds as we can, even on the AM side. And we took a step back. We said, it's just going to make it harder to make it more professional. And it comes down to it. You really got to do tee times to make it professional. So we're doing tee times across the board. We're not going to try to run, everybody ragged. And we're going to make sure that way everybody has time to enjoy the, ancillary events and they're not worn out. And when you play Harmony Bends, you'll be glad it's only one round. And that course, it's going to put a beating on you. So.
Well, and to be totally fair with everyone, of course, there's maybe a little bit of challenge or frustration and criticism that's come that you guys are picking up and learning from. But on the flip side of that, there's a lot of positives that have happened at that event throughout all the years that it's been taking place. And I'm sure you guys are getting the feedback on the things that people really also do enjoy. And I'm sure that factored into the way you guys are pursuing this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, a few things right at the bat, some of the feedback was on just the way it kicks off. A lot of times, the events that kick off, you kind of take what you can get. And when it comes to, you want to spend $5,000 to get a nice venue for opening ceremonies, or do you want to, use a high school that's being available for free? We're really lucky, Columbia, we're a really big town. We got the University of Missouri here. It's a big town. They're used to running events for 60,000 people for a football game. So the community understands how to run a quality event, and what we're getting now with the growth of disc golf and popularity is we're getting the support. So we were able to get that type of venue without that type of price, because that's the trade-off. If you drop 5,000, then that's going to hurt something else. Well, we're able to actually get that level of a venue. We're really excited about it. So we're going to have the opening ceremonies at the Blue Note, which is, it's a concert venue downtown. It's used to having, over 1,000 people there for a concert. So it's going to be no big deal to have it there for them. But at least from my standpoint, when I play in tournaments, like this is a professional place to have opening ceremonies. And the other thing that we kind of heard was, people that went to the last tournament, they didn't really know much about Tim Selinsky. And we heard that, a lot of people would like to know more about him. And I know that the people who did know him would like to see him get more recognition. So we definitely are going to have a special presentation at the opening ceremonies, kick it off, to make sure everybody knows about Tim and can celebrate his life and what he did for the sport.
I just missed that last moment, but I think as you were talking about Tim Selinsky and his legacy and knowing more about him, I personally was very fortunate. I've known him for many years. Every time you hear about him and people reference the smile that he had, or the tremendous embraces and hugs that he give out whenever you'd see him, and just that kind-hearted spirit that he carried everywhere, just truly one of the nicest guys in the world. And it's unfortunate he's no longer with us. And I think back to my what I believe was the last time that I actually spoke with him was the 2009 Worlds in Kansas City. I saw him at the Fly Mart, and as always, he kind of was famous for giving out hugs. I feel like that's a tradition that, whether it's his or just in the disc golf family, it's a good one, and I'm a big fan of it myself. So we shared a great hug and a smile or two, and he was such a great spirit that lit up so many people's lives and lit up the room and lit up a tournament when he was at it. So I think it's awesome to keep those roots and let people know the kind of man that he was and the legacy that he's left behind, and rightfully so, having this tournament named after him. I think that's awesome. So we've covered basically the venue. What are some of the events that you're looking at having, some of the extra things that will be taking place that people can enjoy while they're there?
So one of the things that we have here is the Missouri State Historical Society is here, and they have the Midwest Throwing Sports Collection. So they're going to have a huge display there. So we're going to have that event one night, and we're working on getting a bunch of donations to be added to that. Right now, there's a ton of stuff there from Whammo, and Innova, of course, is our championship sponsor, and they're working on getting some stuff for us. But I also know that they might have gotten a bunch of stuff recently from Crazy John Brooks, which was born in the same hospital as me, and right here in Columbia, Missouri. So Crazy's a Columbian native, even though it was a really short time. But he was born here, was here for some early childhood, we've got a lot of history in Columbia. So the first Ice Bowl, Rick Rothstein and Lynn Warner from here, they started our club. We have the Mid-America Open. We're coming up on it's been running since 1985. So we've been running tournaments here for a long time. We have a lot of history. So we just think it's proper to have this big event in the Historical Society. We're going to have some videos being played, and then we're going to do kind of like a quasi bar crawl. And then so we have the Blue Note for opening ceremonies Wednesday. We're looking at doing that on the Thursday. And then on Friday night, we're having the Players Party. And Innova is sponsoring the Players Party, and we're planning on going all out on that Players Party. So if you like to eat, like to have a good time, don't miss the Players Party. I know a lot of people like to skip those, and some of these other tournaments. This is one you won't want to miss. So, and then, like I said, we're going to kind of wind it down on Saturday. Go ahead.
Having that perfect mix of competition, but yet togetherness and community and camaraderie, always trying to find that perfect mix of where your focus is, it can be really tough. And you'd like to think, well, amateurs handle it differently than pros, or young versus old, but really you're always looking for that balance at any given tournament. And it sounds like you guys are on the right track. Now, I also heard that with the balance and everything else you guys are doing, you're also working on having the coverage. And did I hear GK Pro is going to be in control of the primary coverage?
That is correct. GK Pro is coming. They're going to be filming MP40. So we're working on fingers crossed. We're working on getting FP40 film too. We don't have that concrete yet, but we're trying hard. We like to get equal coverage, but we've got the MP40 straightened away. and we're going to see what we can do on the other. But yeah, we definitely want the Masters to. That was part of the other feedback. A lot of the Masters felt like that they wanted to get some coverage. They think that that the spectators want to see it, and not just from the video standpoint too. We are working really hard on getting spectators to come to the tournament, and we've got a local big sponsor, and we got something really big planned. But they're offering something that basically everybody's going to get a chance at, whether you're a player or a spectator. So it's gonna be pretty cool. But we are not ready to announce that yet. But it's gonna be pretty awesome. And we're right in between Kansas City and St. Louis, two huge disc golf meccas. We have a big disc golf community here at Columbia anyway. So, but just besides the players, there's a lot of people that come to Harmony Bends on the regular. We know they're gonna come spectate. So it's gonna be a really good turnout.
Awesome. Now, I know I had a brief conversation with the PDGA. I was hoping that I was going to be able to be involved. I've covered or been part of that event a few times, and I think that event unfortunately butts up against directly with a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, of which Smashbox has applications, of course, but it sounds like you're on the right track, and having someone great like GK Pro come in is a good start. And like you said, hopefully maybe there's even a bit beyond that. And I'm sure the PDGA will be doing some form of media, either wrap-ups or involvement as well to assist the GK Pro coverage. So that's awesome. Is there anything, I'm not necessarily just looking for a Smashbox exclusive, but is there anything in particular that you feel like is really going to be different than what maybe they've seen in the past, or maybe it's something you just alluded to a moment ago and you can't tell us yet, but is there any one or two things that are just going to be really shocking to a frequent U.S. Masters player?
I think that just from the feedback I got, the biggest thing is going to be MP40 playing the same course 3 out of 4 days, and it being one of the best courses in the country. Harmony Bends is. There's always a debate about what's the best, and it reminds me of like LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Like, it's really, really subjective, and I don't really like to compare courses in that way. I like to say, hey, is this course a championship course? And when you look at Maple Hill and Hillcrest, and like you just published their top 10 and stuff. Nobody ever disagrees if those courses are championship, but when you get in the numbers, like, who cares? Like, is it a great course to go play? I guarantee that nobody's gonna come here and say this isn't a championship course and they didn't want to come play it. So, but it's some people will probably come here and play and say, hey, this is the best course I've ever played, and that's awesome, but sometimes it just comes down to who's played what course and who hasn't. But they'll definitely, I think everybody's gonna be happy that plays it. So, and we're gonna make sure the AMs. That's the reason why they don't play it every day, is the AMs get to play one round though too. We want to make sure everybody gets to at least have one round at Harmony Bends, and then if you make the cut, you get to play there again the final day. So the AMs potentially could play there twice.
Okay, and that was exactly going to be my follow-up is I already worry the one criticism or maybe challenge, and this is a good one, is that some people are like, I just wish I got to play that course even more, but it sounds like you're taken care of and everyone's going to get at least one round there with the MP40 playing 3 rounds there. So everyone get a little taste of just how great that course is, and which is awesome. I mean, talk about a great experience for everyone while they're out there. Very cool. So I maybe.
Oh, we might have lost Terry here.
Uh-oh.
He's locked up just a little bit. I don't know where he was going with that question. Well, sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Let's do this real quick. Cool. Where is so if I go to, nope, that's the wrong one. What am I looking for here? Oh, this one right here. Hi, there we go.
Hey.
We'll get back to Terry if he jumps back on the call. So you said registration opens tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. Is there tiered registration? Is that in effect for this, or is it going to be a free for all and just try to get signed up?
It's just a free for all. Try to get signed up. One thing that's really important is everybody who played last year does get a discount, and the email went out. Everybody should have gotten that email, and they should have the code. So make sure you have that code to register so you can get your discount when you sign up if you played last year.
Awesome.
So yeah, definitely. If you don't have that, I would reach out tomorrow morning, send some emails, and get that code. So you should have gotten it.
Do you foresee the event filling pretty quickly, or do you think it's going to? We're going to see an initial rush and then maybe have some open spots, or which divisions do you think are going to fill up?
That's a good question. Now, from the feedback I've gotten, in comparing it to Mid America, I've had way more people asking when it opens and how many spots there's going to be, and I really think it's going to fill fast. And the number one division who's had concerns about getting in is MP50. So MP50 sounds like I've heard a lot of people say that they couldn't get in last year and they wanted to, and that was the division they were in. So it sounds like MP50 is the one where, and I think it probably comes from that with the new the change with the 55 and the 50. So we try to put as many spots in there as we can, but it's tough. We based on the trends and the numbers. We looked at a lot of what the turnout was in Iowa, because regionally wise, Iowa's really close to where we're at. So we think that it looks like the trends show that you usually get an uptick when you're more centrally located, but the numbers are also still going up because of the growth too. So it's kind of complicated to forecast.
Oh, most certainly. My next question is, you normally run, was it the Mid America Open? Is that correct?
Yep. Yes, that's correct. Mid America.
And you're running that this year as well?
Yes.
So we
push them apart though.
So you're pushing two one literal major and another really big event. How are you juggling the two of them right now?
So what we've done, and so like one of the first people I reached out to, and people will laugh when I say this, but it's the truth, and is Steve Dodge. So I reached out to him and asked for advice, and he gave a lot of really good advice and said, well, number one, he said, don't do what I do. So people will probably appreciate that. But he did say, he was the first one to say, hey, he was overextended. There's too much going on. So one of the things that I've constantly been reminding our crew is like, hey, we've got to stay focused on Zelensky. And honestly, we have the title sponsor, for Mid America planned out, but that's it. So we're not going to start on Mid America until all the loose ends are tied up for Zelensky. We might dial Mid America back a little bit on making it more simpler and less complicated, but we're still going to keep it the same level. But we're not going to try to do anything crazy and new. We're going to kind of stick to the old tried and true, and all the exciting, crazy stuff that we do to really hit the home run is going to be on the Zelensky side. So,
yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. Terry, I think we have you back. We lost you in the middle of a question. Were you asking something specific?
I apologize, and it looks like I am going in and out, so I'll have to see if I can get that locked down. But I was asking just about specifics, actually, and maybe he already now covered them, about exact tournament dates, check-in, registration, that kind of stuff, when people are expected in town, and then tomorrow. But I was looking for the exact details on the tournament dates.
Yeah, so the tournament opening ceremony start Wednesday, May 27th. If you're coming into town, I would plan on being there that day. Get your player pack picked up. Check out the courses. It's the week after Memorial Day though, and we're gonna have stuff going on from Memorial Day on. So there's gonna be some early bird stuff. So if you get there early, we're gonna have stuff to do. I'm sure we'll have doubles and things like that. So for people who come in town and want to experience everything there is to offer that week, and the tournament play starts on Thursday, and so we have tournament rounds Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we have the cut, and then we had the finals on Sunday, and then we had the players party purposely on Friday night, because we don't want to have the all-out party, before the finals. So we want to kind of give everybody more of a chance to go. And plus that kind of gives you the opportunity to, if you don't make the cut and you don't want to stay the extra day and you want to get out of your hotel room, you probably could. But you're probably going to want to spend the night and come see the finals and spectate, I hope. So. But I'm not for sure, but I think this might be the first time there's been a cut at Zelensky. I know there's been some cuts at other tournaments, other majors. But
what exactly drove that decision? Did you talk with the PDGA, or was it a staff-related thing, or what drove that decision?
Yes, it was a joint decision with the PGA, and also, the staff's always involved on decisions like that. And ultimately, we felt like more people could play Harmony Bends with the cut. The cut was the only way we could have everybody come play Harmony Bends the last day. Otherwise, there's no way you could do it. It just can't put that many people in a course in one day. So that was the only way to do that. And it seemed like it would make it more professional also. And the players that I talked to who had played in cuts, you know, they were very supportive of it. Locally we got several pros locally. We've got Zach Johnson lives here locally, and George Smith, Masters player, and we talked these guys, and I was kind of surprised. Every single person I talked to said you should do a cut. It's awesome. And the one thing that we did hear overwhelming though, everybody says if you do a cut, please do it on the money line. Like people don't want to play unless they're in the money, and if they're in the money, they want to stay that way. So we're going to keep the cut on the money line for sure. So
awesome, and I believe that may or may not become actually. That I feel like if there's going to be a cut, that's where it needs to be, if I recall, or I could just be making stuff up. I'm on an island here. What do I know? All right, Joe. Is there anything else that maybe we didn't ask you that you feel like the world should know about this event before everyone goes out and gets registered, which starts again at when?
So registration starts tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central.
Okay.
The one thing that I would just tell people is that for a city this size, the disc golf community is huge. The support's really good locally. A lot of people in town know what's going on, and it's hard sometimes because we're competing. Like I said, when there's a home football game, you have 60,000 people in town, so sometimes it's kind of hard to to convince people this is worth investing in, but. Our city built Harmony Bends. We spent like $500,000 building a course. So that tells you right there, like our city is committed to disc golf, and we've got a lot of history here. We've got, our college disc golf team is rated #2 in the country. We have kids that are literally coming to Mizzou just because they want to be in the disc golf team. And it's funny, I was talking to Drew, one of the members, and he said, well, not only does he be on the team, but he gets to play Harmony Bends whenever he wants. So it's like a double selling point,
Wow, who would have guessed all these years ago?
Go to your classes, Drew.
Yeah, start classes first, then disc golf. Let's get our priorities right, but make sure the disc golf does happen.
Yeah, and who would have thought? I mean, talk about the evolution of our sport, of the idea that somebody actually cares about what disc golf, the scene and the course look and the surrounding area and the team, that those are being factored in whatsoever. I think back to many years ago. Oh, huge putt on hole 11. Many years ago, I didn't put a lot of effort into it, and I was like, "Oh, there's a disc golf course there. Yeah, I'll go play there." But it certainly didn't have carry the weight that they do now, which is awesome to see.
And the only other thing I would add is, being TD is honestly it's super easy. Our team here is awesome. So they make me look really good. I mean, we have so much volunteers and support. So it's not just me. They make it really easy for me. This is definitely a team job. I wish we could put 10 people's name down as TD, because honestly, it takes a village to really pull off a good event. So I definitely want to make sure we give credit to the entire community, really. And it's pretty awesome. We got a lot of people under 40 in this town, which is good. They can't play, so that means they have to come volunteer. So.
Oh, no, Terry's still there.
Yeah,
well, Joe,
right.
No, that's fine. I think we've covered almost everything we need to cover tonight. Obviously, as we keep hammering and hammering, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Be on the internet. Get ready. Get that. As Joe said, get those emails sent out to make sure that you have your code to sign up. It is the Tim Selinsky Masters. It is a PDGA major. GK Pro Productions will be covering MP40, so we want to make sure to hammer all that information out to everybody. We're going to get a good chance to see it. Joe, I want to thank you for joining the show tonight. Hopefully, we'll get you on a little closer to the event and talk about how all that stuff is coming along.
Yep, sounds great. Hopefully we'll be talking about how it's so full. There's a long waiting list to get in. So
I hope so. I mean, well I'm oh yeah, there's a pro tour event that weekend, so I can't even come play the AM side.
I know. We were hoping that both of you'd be here too. I know. We're really sad. So,
well,
you can still come play Mid America. That's a Pro Tour Silver Series. So
we could. Well, there's talks about covering in that too, and we'll get into all of that at some point. But Joe, I want to thank you for joining the show tonight. Again, we'll probably catch you hopefully in a couple months with a little follow up.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot for having us.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe. You have a good night.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, Terry.
All right. So it sounds like my internet has been a little spotty. Is that what I've gathered here?
Yeah, internet's spotty. Your microphone is really picking up that wind.
Is it? I'm asking you that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes, your internet is spotty and your microphone is picking up wind. It's a really great combination right now.
You gotta love it. All right. Do we have one of our amazing contributions from maybe help in terms of Ace Run Productions or maybe a Disc Golf Nerd review that we could cut to, so I could maybe make an adjustment or two?
Actually, we do. Ace Run Productions gave us a nice little. It's not little. It's like almost a 5-minute clip. Let's go to this real quick. We'll talk to Ace Run. We'll let Terry kind of get some stuff taken care of, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Felix with Ace Run Productions. We've got something new and unique for you today. We're trying out a new segment. We're going to be going around the country and asking different touring pros, local pros, about 2 specific aspects of the game. We want to kind of delve into their mind and ask them about one tip that they think can help across the board, being a rec level player all the way up to a pro level player, on either the aspect of mentality of the game, the physical part of the game, preparation, and then we want to delve into their mind about one disc that they think is in their bag that should be in everybody's bag, regardless of skill level. So we are here in Tequila, Georgia today. We've got local DGA sponsored pro, Ben Liena. Ben, thank you so much for joining us on this segment and helping us launch this and get started. So Ben, I just wanted to ask you, how long have you been playing the game of disc golf itself?
I've been playing disc golf for about 7 years, coming into my 4th year sponsored by DGA. And you know, every year has been great. They've been, you know, a great family to grow the sport with, and you know, they're coming out with great products, baskets, discs, and they're doing a lot of good things for disc golf.
So you've got a variety of different molds in your bag, obviously ranging from slower speeds to higher speed stuff. If you were to think about one disc that you think could fit anybody's game and belongs in everybody's bag, what disc would that be?
Definitely the Aftershock. That's a no-brainer. The Aftershock is one of my favorite molds that I've ever thrown in my disc golf career. I carry 4 Aftershocks in my bag, pretty much one of every plastic because they all do different things. I carry a D-line Aftershock for the straight to turnover shots, and it's really grippy. Then I have a Shasta Shock, which is for our touring players. This is a little bit stiffer, but I have this one worked into where it can do pretty much any line I put it on, an Anheuser, straight, or a little hyzer. Then I have a regular Pro line and one of the older runner Pro lines. This one's really grippy, it has a nice feel to it, and I use this one for just any straight shot that I need. And then the SP line, which is more of our overstable-ish plastics. This one is for any type of left finishing Aftershock shot, or if there's a little breeze coming into me, I like to use this one. When I first started playing with DGA discs, this was the one disc that I felt comfortable throwing off the bat.
Now Ben, let's shift gears a little bit here. Wanted to pick your brain and kind of get into the mindset of a pro and kind of thinking about different aspects of the game. If you could settle in on one specific tip that you think would work across any level of disc golfer to kind of get you to that next level.
One thing that I struggled with when I first started in Open, it was, you know, I was seeing the big pros in our state, you know, throwing consistent 400-foot hyzers, making these 70-foot putts in front of me, or, you know, lacing a fairway. And, you know, it was really cool to watch, and I was just like, man, I can do that. Then I go up to do it, and it kind of just doesn't work out for me. It kind of
right.
Shanks to the right, or I grip lock it, and I'm trying to force it, yeah. And like, one thing I suggest is to play within the strengths that you know. You know, if you throw a consistent 325 feet straight, that's great. That's a straight shot.
Yeah.
Straight shot's one of the hardest shots in the game. The way to get from advanced to open is kind of just play within yourself, know your game, and make the shots really easy for you to where you're not taking bogeys as opposed to just taking pars, because every stroke counts on the course.
Awesome, great advice. I want to take the time to thank Ben Liena, again, DGA sponsored pro, for taking the time out to come out with us today, show us some different shots here, talk about the Aftershock, and again, go out to DGA.com, get your hands on an Aftershock, try one out for yourself. Ben, thank you so much. Social media wise, where can these guys hop on and follow along with you on your journey?
I'm pretty active on Facebook still. Just search my name, Ben Liena. It's 2 L's E-N-A. And Instagram, if you have Instagram, follow me on Instagram. I'm private, so I'll accept some people. We'll see. But I might be coming out with a social media or sports page sooner or later, so we'll see what happens with that. But sweet.
Well, thank you to SmashBoxx for having us on this segment. Thank you, Smashies, for watching and checking it out. Let us know what you think. We plan to do a lot more of these with different pros as we go throughout the U.S. filming and taking the time out to, again, dive into their brains, really get an idea of what makes them pros, and talking to them about what disc can really make an impact in your bag from day one. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll check you out next time. And as always, let's get excited for some disc golf.
Hey there, Terry. How are we doing now?
Oh.
Thanks to Ace Run
All right.
Productions for our video there. Gave us a little bit of time for Terry to do a quick little technical support.
And what's even great about that is, funny as this sounds, that wasn't actually planned. That we.
That's great. I should just keep Terry like that, just all the time, just with the big smile. Yeah, this is the difficulties when you're trying to do a little bit of a broadcast from across the country, or the world, or wherever Koh Samui is. It could be in New Zealand, it could be in Thailand, it could be in New Mexico. I really don't know. I'm a smart guy, though. I like to tell people that. Well, while we fill some time, while Terry kind of hops up and down there, we can just bring this in. Boop. Bye, Terry. See you later. All right, what do we have going on? I am... Yeah, Terry, not so much. It was working great. We go live. Terry freezes up. I don't know if we're going to be able to get much of Terry tonight, just with the way things are going right now. What do we have out on the board? Anything fun and interesting out there? As far as PDGA goes, I'm looking at some things. My day was filled with a couple different meetings. I had a meeting with Jeff Spring and a meeting with the PDGA, talking about some things that I can't quite get into all the details about yet, but some proposals are going out, and working with Mo from the Disc Golf Pro Tour about getting a lot of things. We're looking at some really a new format, and I can't go into all the details, like I said, but I think I'm really excited for it for the Pro Tour. So other than that, we have the PDGA Competition Committee announces early registration exemptions, which means that tournament directors now can, looks like I do have Terry back here. It looks like tournament directors can more or less make exemptions for and reward local clubs and volunteers for their grassroots work and service by reserving spots. So, oh, here, let's get Terry back online. Terry, welcome back to the show.
All right, welcome back. How are we doing?
Better now that you're here, right?
Okay, well, hopefully. I was just saying, I don't know where I cut out, but I was saying, again, thank you to Ace Run, so that we could try and adjust a little bit on the technical side. Sounds like we're going to have maybe a challenge or two. Hopefully we're clear sailing. If not, we'll keep our perspective from the island here a little bit short. But right now, I would like to introduce the man, the owner and organizer, tournament director extraordinaire, and I don't know, so many different titles. I'd like to welcome to the show Nigel Mills. Nigel.
Thanks for having me here, Terry.
How are we doing, buddy?
Oh, great. Another year. Everything's kicked off for the morning rounds for the AMs, and 44 players are playing right now. So
wow, and so 44 players is actually a full field.
yes,
because you have 11 holes that they play through twice.
Right.
So it's 44 of various divisions this morning, and then a separate flight in this afternoon of 44 different players.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Which is incredible. So the amateurs playing today and tomorrow.
Right.
And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or I'm sorry, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to see all of our top professionals.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So what is it like having a sold out tournament here taking place right now, and then a little room on the pro side? But what is it like having all these people come here to the island to play disc golf on your property?
So I have one player here this year who hasn't been here since the first one in 2014 when we had 11 registered players, and to have him come back and see what we have now and to have it so busy, it's just it's really exciting. And I've been working all year to get the course up into shape, and I feel real happy with how the course is playing, how it looks, and just happy to have everyone here enjoying disc golf here at my house. So it's just unbelievable.
Your house is literally like I can almost reach out and touch it. We are that close.
Yeah.
And then it oversees this amazing piece of property. And I don't know if we touched on it last year, but you actually even got a little permission and or worked on an agreement with a neighbor so that you could use some of their backyard, so to speak,
I have,
as well.
4 neighbors I deal contracts with, and I've worked it all out. And so we should have it in the next 5 years. We'll keep the property the same way, and maybe we'll find more add-ons, and who knows, maybe it'll be 13 holes, maybe it's 15 holes, but we'll only make playable holes. I'm not going to squeeze holes just to get an 18, you know.
Well, and talking about the community and the proximity, we have players like Sarah Holcomb and media like Kingsley and so many other people, Philo Brathwaite, literally are staying hundreds of feet or meters, depending on what you can use here, but staying just feet off of the course. There's some new buildings built over by the tee of hole number 3. Philo says he's just off the back of hole number 9.
Yep.
I mean, granted, a scooter life is the way to go here. Let me just be very clear. But if you wanted to even save the 12 cents in scooter gasoline for the week, you can stay close enough.
You can definitely walk to the course every day from all the housing around here.
That's incredible. Do you have relationships with some of those people that they realize tournaments are coming in and you're, helping boost the economy?
Everyone in the neighborhood knows, because across the street from our place, there's all the bikes and all the cars. Like my wife goes to the neighborhood. You're so busy. What's going on? They just know it's the time of year, but they have no idea why. They just look at the Frisbee. When people are throwing the disc, they have no idea. They're just like, so, but it's great. Everyone really appreciates it. And the locals are into watching what's going on now.
Well, and of course we know this last weekend tournament took place on the south side of the island, the Heisen Brownie. Now that can't be the only establishment outside of yours, I'll say, in the future or on the horizon. Maybe that's a better way to put it. There's going to have to be other people you're going to be reaching out to you, looking for maybe some of your expertise. Disc golf, does anybody else want to grow or expand it here on the island, or is that just an untold story yet?
I've always helped out people who are anywhere in the region, anywhere in Southeast Asia, if they're looking to do anything with disc golf. I'm always happy to help. Put them in contact with Anova and other companies, depending on what they're trying to order. Get more baskets in the area is more tourists coming and more people traveling and doing a Southeast Asian disc golf tour. So we're all for it, all for the growth everywhere in Thailand and the surrounding areas. So.
Well, and of course you having what I feel like is the pinnacle of disc golf here, of course, here in the island, and it just makes it for a destination. Everybody wants to make sure that they get here. The atmosphere, and you're probably seeing some of the chairs, and I mean, there's seating here for more than 100 people. We've got food on site. There's a kitchen, and there's drinks that you earlier heard were being blended up.
Fresh fruit
pro
shakes,
shop, I mean, really everything somebody could want for a disc golf destination or vacation or tournament, any one of those or all in one, is right here.
Sure. And then even last night we had the first fly mart in Asia, as it was pointed out by Luke Bush. So we had everyone out here trading, and they had a great time last night. And we have events all week. We've been planning stuff like the slide we had on Monday, and then for the and people can sign up for the additional barbecue. But I'm pretty proud of the barbecue. Got the big rig, and we're doing a lot of cooking. I got all kinds of stuff, and the reason why it's called the swine, because I do a whole pig every year. So that's where the swine thing came from, and it's just it's always a big party afterwards, and people enjoy it. So to me, that's the important part, the party.
Well, and
the disc golf, yeah, sure, but everyone has disc golf.
You kicked off my most adventurous year, which was last year in 2019. You kicked it off by having me here at this event, and then I went on to be very blessed to travel internationally, and I will tell you, not only I can't pick favorites, because everybody treats me so well, but this is definitely the best way to kick off a year.
Thank you.
There is no doubt about that.
Yep.
If I had to pick favorites, you might be up there as the top one. But you not only does this kick off the season in such a tremendous way, but you just hit on the main theme. It's the extracurriculars, it's the community, it's the people. In going to Norway, in going to Croatia, in going to Finland, all of the same theme applied, just like here. It's what are we doing outside of the golf? The golf is great, and it's fun, and it's competitive.
We might have locked him up. We might have locked him up. I can have him here. For those of you audio viewers, we just have a locked up version of Terry, and just messaging him right now, letting him know he's locked up. But we'll get back to Terry. Probably. We'll get rid of him. See you later, Terry. What I do want to talk about real quick is our Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. For those of you at the $10 level, you got a shirt in the mail. It's the sign language shirt. Basically, it says disc golf with American Sign Language above it. If you'd like we do have some extra ones in the store. The Smashbox store. SmashBoxx.TV will bring you to a store. So if you're interested, we've got, I think, size large and up. I made a little mistake and I didn't order any extra mediums. They all went out to Patreon supporters. So if these sell relatively well, I might make another order of them, and we will make sure that we get them in the proper sizes for all the peoples. It's a baseball style 3/4 sleeve, gray and blue. It's ridiculously soft. I was talking to someone who got theirs yesterday online, and we both agree that it's fantastic. I wore it last night on Tyler Brickley's Disc Golf Comedy Podcast. So, Ryan, it is a sweet shirt. That is the $10 one, Big Putt Bill. So if you guys are interested, you can, you can either join the Patreon and at the $10 level, and you'll get something unique every quarter. I got to make sure this year we've gone through 4 shirts now. Technically 3 t-shirts and a polo. I did a really nice polo for things, and you can see that polo out on the store as well. And then we did 2 exclusive to Patreon ones. And I think the next one we do will probably be a Patreon exclusive that only you can buy. You can only get if you're a Patreon supporter. But we'll see. It depends. Depends on the order. Terry, no, you're not good, Terry. He's messaging us on the board, asking how he is, and I said he's not good. So what else do we have out here? Has anybody heard? It's been a kind of a quiet news. We saw Discraft drop a Building the Bag with Brody Smith and Paul Macbeth. I think I legally have to say those names every podcast now to make sure that our ratings get bumped up, because if you put them in your podcast feed name, that everybody wants to listen to it. But they did do a Building the Bag where Paul walked him through the Discraft warehouse, and I didn't get a chance to finish it off, but I watched a good portion of it, and Paul more or less explaining to Brody the different plastics, the different discs, and Brody kind of asking the rookie questions, so to speak, and being, I don't know if it was truly or if he was kind of just playing to the camera. how he actually felt about the amount of variety that he had. It looks like I've got Terry back. Terry, I'm going to come to you here. Here we go. Terry, you ready?
I apologize. I'm not sure. Just as I was asking the board if everything looked and sounded good, it sounds like things cut out. Maybe I jinxed myself. Are we there, Johnny?
Yes, you're good. Go for it.
Okay. I apologize. So what was the last maybe question that I had offered up? Hey, Rebecca.
Not a clue.
Okay. I'm trying to remember where I last let off. Maybe our board. They pay attention to us, unlike you. We'll see what the board. I was asking on behalf of the newbie. That was thoughts on. You guys were talking about building the bag, which I did not hear any of. I'm hoping somebody can let me know where you last heard me talking to Nigel, and then I can pick up from there.
Just go with it. Just roll with a new question, Terry.
Well, I think one of the things
Seriously? This podcast is going to be a pain in the ass to edit. Because I'll tell you what, it just... All right, yeah, this podcast is going to be a pain in the ass to edit. I'm obviously not going to put it out like that. So I think we're done with Terry for tonight. I think we're going to be done with Terry for tonight. It might not. This isn't going to be the highlight of the year. I'll tell you that. It's January. We had a couple good episodes. You know, we're bound to have one or two. You know, Terry's trying to work with some janky internet from, you know, a beautiful Koh Samui, and it might just not work out for us tonight. So I think we're just gonna call it on the Terry side of things. Yeah, and scene as we get Chris Cobb talking about. But other than that, do we have anything? Yeah, Fairway Media says after show. We could get into the after show relatively quick because there really isn't a lot of PDGA news. Like I said, I'm working with the PDGA on some things. I'm working with the Disc Golf Pro Tour on some things. Hopefully these things will all be able to be announced in the next, I'm hoping 2 weeks, maybe 3 for some of them. But the Pro Tour has a lot of big news coming out. I'm really excited to see some of the changes that are being made and just the excitement that the crew has right now. I was talking to Jeff Spring today, and he was telling me that they have 8 crew members on the team now. I think 3 of them are full-time Disc Golf Pro Tour employees, and then they've got 5 part-time employees that are going to be working different perspectives and different avenues. So it's a full crew that is here to provide you wonderful disc golf experience. And I, for one, am happy to be kind of a part of it. And I think I think we're really going to be moving in the correct direction, most certainly. Yeah, Terry says he's going to record a conversation and he'll post it separately, which will work out perfect. And if I can grab a copy of that, what we can do is we can also maybe put that into our podcast as a separate feed as well, because I'll probably just edit out the Terry stuff at this point, and we'll work on that. Fairway Media says he's editing some female juniors round of 20 holes that took 4 hours to play. Yeah, as much as everybody wants to see that awesome footage from people we don't always get a chance to see, it's not always the most fun to edit because some of those, depending on the course, it can be brutal to watch. JT O'Brien asks, new graphics for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. That was discussed today. There's a few things. I don't think I'm overstepping bounds when I say this. With the new graphical outlook, with the new overhaul of the Disc Golf Pro Tour look, obviously they're going to be looking for some new graphics. And there's really 2 ways to go about doing that. Working with UDisc to build out what's called an API, so I just have access to the raw data so that we can build the graphics ourselves, make them really cool, animated, awesome scoreboards, things like that. and be able to be in full control, or we can give files, which will be a little more static, the graphics wise. The data obviously always updates, and give those to UDisc and have them upload them to their secret site that we grab that from. And I think we're going with the latter first, just because UDisc, after talking to them, they've got some big announcements coming up as well, but they were very busy in this off season. I think their crew is expanding as well. And how great is it now that we have all these positions, full-time positions in disc golf that we didn't have before? Programmers and videographers and media managers and live producers and post-production guys and tour coordinators, things that just didn't even exist 5 years ago. So we're probably going to give them some updated graphics that we'll use, and then throughout the year we'll probably work with them to get access to the raw data so that we can, so that we'll be able to have some really, really cool and really sweet looking graphics in the future. And I'm looking forward to that. It might not be ready for Memorial, just because, like I said, UDisc has been ridiculously busy, but I promise you that they're going to be, that they're working with Dustin from the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and they're going to be doing some really nice new graphics. So that is exciting. Fairway Media says UDisc is amazing. They really are. And live scoring, even on B and C tiers using UDisc, is legit. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that. But TJ Seneca, the DGPT logo, that is new. If you go to dgpt.com, they have an updated logo from the old... I don't even know how to describe the old one. It's very traditional, like a sports media. You know, your two colors and a silhouette. But this is a little bit more different. It's a little bit more vibrant. It's just a different look. So I think they're going to be kind of going along those lines for the new graphics. Carolina Chainbanger says, I really want a job in the disc golf world. Make one. What are you good at? What do you like to do? Where can you be useful? Make that position for yourself. Find it. And if it's running a camera, awesome. If it's doing graphics, if it's, you know, coordinating or project management or whatever, there's a lot of jobs that open up. If you're like a plumber, I don't know if there's many plumbing jobs in disc golf, but something along those lines. But disc golf has more and more jobs opening up every day. That is for certain. Are we going to get more salmon? That's a question that a lot of people are asking, and I don't think so. I think we're going to be salmon free. And I know that hurts. That hurts a lot of people because they really enjoyed the salmon commercials last year. But I think this year, I don't believe we're going to see any salmon. We are going to see a really good swath of disc golf manufacturers and companies and just resellers and all sorts of things that are working together with the Pro Tour. I can't say enough how excited I am. Yes, we've overfished. Unfortunately, the demand was so high last year that we've overfished the river, and there will be no salmon this year. We're pretty much in the after show at this point, so we're just going to kind of roll with this. Who do I got for the Super Bowl? I got to go Chiefs. It's on one hand, I'd be happy to watch the team that beat my team get beat, which are the 49ers. And I kind of have a soft spot for Andy Reid. I'd really like to see him get a Super Bowl. I think he's that coach that just, he's been so close so many times, he kind of deserves it. And a lot of those times he kind of bit himself with poor clock management. As an NFC coach, I saw it quite a few times, being our team as the NFC. But I think the Chiefs have an advantage. They can throw the ball up and down the field. They can score quickly. The 49ers are not a fast-scoring team. So if the Chiefs can get ahead, it's game over. But if the 49ers defense can make can make the quarterback run around a little bit and Bosa gets in his ribs, it could be a good game. But I'm picking Chiefs by 10. So Need More Input says he wants to pick the Chiefs, but he can't as a Broncos fan. I understand. And I don't really have a dog in this fight. The only thing I kind of would like to see is Andy Reid get a touchdown, get a Super Bowl ring. That's all. That's really the only thing I'm pulling for. San Francisco is a good disc golf community, even though the 49ers aren't really in San Francisco anymore. They're close, but and Kansas City is a really good disc golf community. So it's not even like I can root for one disc golf community over the other. If I'm trying to think of a city like Jacksonville, if it was Jacksonville in the Super Bowl, they've got disc golf courses, but no one calls them a real like disc golf mecca, as we've had that discussion before. We all want a touchdown ring, so I'm not going to bother. Carolina chain bangers. We're talking enough about football. This is a disc golf podcast. So what else? Is there anything else out there we want to talk about? I'm halfway through The Witcher on Netflix. I think that it's fun, and it's, if you like fantasy, like just shy of dragons, and you're talking like spells and talismans and all that type of stuff, The Witcher's going to be for you. And that, it just so happens that kind of hits that sweet spot for me. If that's not your jam, don't bother. But if you do watch it, you might want to turn on the subtitles, because it takes, I would say it took me a good half an episode to really catch the accents and the flavor of how they're talking. And I think I missed some things. But ultimately, it's very confusing early on, and then everything kind of starts to clear up. Ray says The Outsider is good on HBO. Actually, I do have access to HBO, but I haven't looked at it. And I have not seen the first episode of Picard yet. I'm going to wait just a few more. I'm hoping to wait about 2 more weeks before I sign up for CBS to get Discovery and Picard. Those are the 2 that I'm looking for, because I haven't seen the second season of Discovery. I saw the first season. Curb Your Enthusiasm is back. I never got into Curb Your Enthusiasm. I was never a big Seinfeld person. And I equated the first few seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm to just a different version of Seinfeld. The little bits that I saw and I got, and so I never got into it. I'm sure it's funny, just like the FX show, the Philadelphia show, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think I would really enjoy that one. It's just there's so much to watch. There's so much good television right now. The tour needs a traveling party / festival. TJ, I agree. I think Steve Dodge had that idea with that first year, the Festival of the Flying Discs. And it was good. It's just really difficult to man. It's difficult to, you have to work with either like local clubs, and then you split the profits with them probably as you bring the festival with you. And on top of that, it takes a lot of effort to bring that whole festival, set it up at the beginning of the weekend, take it down at the end of the week, and then on top of that, the whole course thing. But I agree. I think it would be really cool to have something like that with carnival games and prizes and local and touring pros showing up and challenging them to games. I think there's there's something good that could happen there. I just, logistics-wise, it's very difficult. Yeah, and that's what he says. It's just logistics. You have food vendors. I don't think it's as tough. Alcohol would be very tough. Matthew Pietralunga, I'm not sure I slaughtered that, says he thought that GBO was the disc golf bash. It is one of them. I think depending on what you're looking for, that block party on that final night is a blast. Just walking up and down the street, checking out vendors, eating street tacos, and it's ice cream and the chocolate, the chocolate shop, the confectionery, yeah, I'm saying that right. I'm starting to doubt myself here. All of it is delicious. The granada, the sweet granada is what it's called. Those are all things, and I'm very sad that this year I'm just not going to be able to go to GBO. Eight people full-time this year, 100 in a couple of years coming up. Not 8 people full-time. They got 8. They have 3 full-time and 5 part-time, but we'll get there. Ben Matlock says that Ledgestone has some really good post-round parties as well as fun putting games. I've never been to the Ledge Stone itself. I've been to the courses, but I'm the blessing and a curse, my position, I feel. It's a blessing in that I get to provide live disc golf. I get to be the point man. I kind of control a lot of it. Most of the live happens based on my feeling and how things are going. Obviously, it takes a small village to make this happen between cameramen, commentators, sideline reporters, PAs that help run batteries and stuff like that. But it's great. On the downside, I need to train somebody that can do this so I can start hitting some of these events too. And that would be that's the dream, right? That's the dream. Start the engine and let the engine run. Yes, AJ Risley did have fresh waffles at the GBO block party last year. I did not get a chance to get any. I got there too late, but it was great. Control, Kyle Harrington says, having control is better. Just go ahead and skip the party and take the power. Yeah, I'm not going to GBO this year. I don't know if I talked about it last week or not, because with the new Live View setup that we got from the Pro Tour from Steve Dodge last year, we acquired that equipment for a pretty penny. It requires a server. It requires all sorts of things. So that means me packing up a bunch of stuff, which I've done in the past, but it's even more equipment now, bringing it on site. It would be such a hassle. So I'm very sad I'm going to miss GBO this year. But I'll be able to provide live coverage so everybody can watch it for free on YouTube. Dust Moritz says, hey, I just wanted to say I enjoy the content. I come from the esports scene as a commentator, but enjoying all the disc golf stuff. Really neat. Want to see the sport grow. Awesome, Dust Moritz. What esport are you coming from? Is it like Rocket League? Is it League of Legends, Overwatch? I mean, I don't really play any of those games. The only it could be Hearthstone. There's esports for Hearthstone. I do play that. But esports is one of the things I look at as much behind the scenes as I can to see how they do their run and all that other stuff. He commentates Counter-Strike. Okay. So that's like a first-person... Counter-Strike, I believe, is a first-person shooter. That's not a... Yeah, I believe Counter-Strike is a first-person shooter. CSGO. I forgot what the GO stands for, but that's really cool. And is that for a really big league? Is that like a smaller local league? There is the esports broadcasting is becoming very popular, even small locally, because you can take a rig like what I have, hook it up to 3 or 4 systems, and then you have a commentator, and you can just, if someone knows what they're doing, they can easily switch back and forth. I can't imagine how quickly the action would change for switching that type of show. Ray says it's one of the most popular first-person shooters in history almost. It goes to show what I know about. I never got into first-person shooters. Everybody, I grew up with a Nintendo, which didn't really have any. Super Nintendo, not really. The first-person shooters I first started playing were Wolfenstein, I'm dating myself, Doom, and Quake. And those were fun. And then everybody, obviously, for Nintendo 64 was GoldenEye, but I never got into it. It was fun for a little bit. I'm slightly more slow-paced. I prefer strategy games and side-scrollers or action games, whatever. Your typical Mario, Super Mario, Zelda, Metroid. I'm playing Mario vs. Rabbids in my spare time. When my wife is driving and I can play on the Switch and yell at the boy in the back to keep reading his book because Dad's playing video games. But that's what I've been filling my time with. Pharaoh Media says he's my age. Yeah, we are of that same age. NPR did a story on esports, and there's some serious payouts. Depending on what sport it is, yeah, there can be some real serious payouts. They have some really big sponsors and they are renting out places like the Staples Center to do their esports stuff. It has a huge audience, and that's one of those things that, like, we always broadcast out to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And I think Twitch is really a playground where disc golf has not thrived at all. There's almost nothing disc golf related out on Twitch. We're out there. I want to put some of our broadcasts out there, but it really takes a constant, repetitive streaming to really pick up an audience on Twitch. But I think it could be pretty cool. If I had to, I told somebody just the other day, if I had to do it all over again, right now, if someone said, all right, you're going to start up the Smashbox podcast, I probably wouldn't do it on YouTube. I would probably move it to Twitch. But I feel like we have a really good community here at YouTube now. We have, all the stuff we really want to do. And I'm really happy with what we're doing. But overall, I would move it to Twitch just because I think there's a few different options there that aren't offered with YouTube. And I wouldn't get scared about it getting yanked down. There's been a lot of talk lately about copyright and people's pages getting locked up for days or weeks. Jim Toe says, you're losing disc golfers. We like to play outside. I play my Switch outside sometimes. No, yeah. Unfortunately, it's the winter time. I got a game for Christmas. There's not a lot of outside I can do right now. I maxed out my outside this month with the Klondike adventure with the Boy Scouts. So I got my outside time, certainly. I'm looking forward to warmer days. That's true. Danny Lindahl is on Twitch. He does do some a little bit of disc golf stuff, but he mostly does streaming. I forget what game he streams. Fortnite for a while, I think. I don't know if he's still doing that. Porch says YouTube is the biggest platform. Go ahead and stick with it. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. YouTube is where we are staying. But I see live as a different thing. I would still post stuff to YouTube, but with a live stream now and with Twitch, if you do create a community and an audience there, they've got different monetization options. Everyone with an Amazon Prime account, which probably is, I would say at least half of probably everyone who's watching now has at least an Amazon Prime account. You can tie that right into Twitch, and you can sub for free to a channel, and they get like $3 or $4.99 a month, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's just built into your Amazon Prime account, so that would be more or less kind of like free money coming our way that we don't have to do. And you can only do that if you're a Twitch partner, and to be a Twitch partner, you can't stream on YouTube at the same time. It's a whole thing I've looked into. So I'm happy just pushing the stuff to Twitch, but I think I'm not going to change away from our primary community here at YouTube. Eric Sterner, someone said they'd never heard of Twitch, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, see, Eric Sterner, you have Prime. And literally, if you go to any Twitch stream and sign in with your account, you can, if you find someone you like, you just hit sub for free. And you basically give them a subscription, which then for that month gives them the $4. Now, the goofy part is you have to redo it every month. But you guys are here every month. It wouldn't be hard just to hit that little button. It could be an option for live golf. It could be. Like I said, I'm putting stuff out there. I want to put the broadcast. GBO is like the one broadcast we're really in control of. We work with DD closely and talk with them, and I think Bobby would have no problem if we put it out on Twitch. And I think we might do that. We might simulcast it from YouTube and Twitch. We're never going away from YouTube for the stuff for the podcast. We're never going away from YouTube for the podcast, and but we'll see what's going on. Can you make a private stream for special events and charge per view? No, you really can't with that. There are options for other services, and we'll talk more about that in the future because that might be a thing. What about the Disc Golf Channel? Is it still a thing? That would be the Disc Golf Network, JT O'Brien asks. I'll just say, stay tuned. we might be hearing things from that in the next couple months. Desmart says, I think disc golf pay-per-view is not a great option. I disagree. But I've said this before. If I had full control of the national tour or the pro tour or any tour, everything would be behind a paywall. And then it would come out later for free. I would just there is a value to watching what we watch immediately or within 24 hours. And if you care that much about the sport and the content and the results and the post-production, you're willing to pay $3 or $4 a month or whatever it would come down to. Who knows? I haven't really thought about it. And then you just release it to YouTube later, a couple weeks later, a month later, whatever that magic number is, where I still want to see the sport grow, and I think gaining an audience on YouTube is a good way to do that. But we don't need to have that be immediate, because if you care that much immediately, you're probably a big fan already. You're not casually watching. And if you want to go back and watch events from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, you can always do that. But again, I'm not in control, so there are other smarter people that are in control of that stuff, like Jeff Spring, Todd Rainwater, the PDGA, Joe Chargoloff, Steve Hill, Mary Sicard, all the media people that run these things. So all those decisions are theirs. I just know what I would personally do on my side, and so a lot of people are very glad that I don't run the show. He says it's hard to make a smaller sport pay-per-view for live stream, but I get that you need immediate monetization. Yeah. I mean, with the numbers that I think we're seeing in post-production, between CCDG or Jomez or the Disc Golf Guy or Fairway Media, Jomez is getting his 150,000 subscribers, or 170, whatever they're at now. They're regularly getting 60, 70, 80,000 views. CCDG is getting 40, 50, 60,000 views. All you need is 10% of that. Figure 3,000 people subscribe at, we'll say, $60 for a year. That's $180,000 minus whatever overhead it costs to run the platform, minus credit card fees and stuff. So $150,000, that pays for your media. And I know we talked about this last year with the Pro Tour and some of the different models that they were going with. So I think there is an option there. But again, I would never want to take away the YouTube stuff, because I wouldn't want to. I want to continue to grow the sport and the views that way as well. And Fairway Media says he's under 300 subs. Sub him. TJ Seneca says he's a patron of 7 different creators. That's awesome. That's about what I am too. I've been downloading and listening to a new podcast. It's a political podcast, but I promise I'm not going political here. It's just called Political Orphanage by Andrew Heaton. And it's very good, very down the center. It's very policy. It's not so much your side, my side. It is much more like, hey, here are the policies that we're talking about. Here is an interview with this person about the last one I listened to is why do people where do people get their political views? Is it from the environment that they grow up in? Is it from their parents? Is it, what people have done studies? It's very analytical and not so much talking about, the current events, because current events is just dividing. So this is a different bend on politics for me, because we get enough of that stuff on Facebook. I don't need any more. I don't need to fill my head with any more of that. But I've been really enjoying it. It's called Political Orphanage with Andrew Heaton. Go ahead and take a look if you're interested in a good political podcast that you're not going to want to pull your hair out regardless of what side you're on. Paywall does scare new people learning about the sport. It can hurt live numbers, and it could make some sponsors harder to get, certainly. But, I mean, it's not like sponsors are knocking down our door now. Jim Toe says, sell commercials like the big boys do. Sure. Be happy to have a dedicated salesperson to do that and have people do that. That would be great. Disc Golf needs to hit up Shark Tank. Yeah, let's go do I'm trying to think of one of their names. I can't even think of any of the Shark Tank guys' names now. Let's got to go to the guy who created Fubu, who's on there all the time. The one I'm embarrassed is I can't remember the guy who owns the Mavericks. He owned, early Web 1.0 stuff, and I can't think of his name. But Cherry Miller is my favorite host. Yeah, Cherry Miller is one of my favorite hosts. For those of you in the audio podcast, clearly we have an empty chair here with one Terry Miller is not available. Damon is the Fubu guy. Mark Cuban. Thank you, JT O'Brien, Dallas Mavericks owner. Thanks for helping me out on that. I'm just drawing a blank on those names. Real Creek says a lot of disc golfers work during the week and would probably rather play on weekends. Pay-per-view will probably be a tough sell. Maybe. Don't know until you try. So. Cherry Miller. We like that. Yeah. Cherry Miller has two different connotations because a lot of times he's beat red, so you could call him Cherry Miller that way. And then we also have the chair that Terry at some point is going to break and fall out of because it's not the best sturdy chair. It's an older wooden chair that already has some issues. So when Terry sits in it and kind of leans in it a little bit, sometimes it creaks and cracks. And he swears that someday during the podcast he's just going to fall. I'm better be here for that. I don't know why I wouldn't be, but it'd be great. Well, if we don't have much else, I'm going to try to talk to Terry into getting something from Koh Samui that we can give away next time. I'll probably do 2 drawings next week just because I've got some podcast editing now I need to do tonight. Most of the time I'm able to just put the show out and kind of roll with that. But tonight will probably be spent the next 45 minutes to an hour actually editing a podcast. Don't love it. Remember when that whippet broke in his shed? Yes, that the cold whippet that Simon shattered or something. Need a sturdy Amish made chair. Yeah, actually, I have a kitchen chair behind me. That's what I'm on. An old 50s style kitchen chair that my wife bought many, many, many years ago, and I inherited when we married. And it's not bad. It keeps me kind of sitting straight up. I can't slouch, but I would not mind a nice, comfy office chair to sit in. I'd probably fall asleep. So, without any further ado, I'm going to call it a night. I'd like to thank Joseph Douglas for joining us and telling us all about the Masters, the Tim Selinsky Masters Major. Remember, if you're getting this, it's probably tomorrow morning, or maybe, we'll see how I break it up. Please go ahead and sign up if you have the chance. It's going to be a phenomenal event at a phenomenal course. It's Harmony Bends, which is rated number 1 on Disc Golf Course Review, but it didn't even make the top 10 in the UDisc category. So I think Harmony Bends needs to get on their locals to get, build up that UDisc base, because a lot of things right now are UDisc is taking over, man. A lot of things. After this, I have some skip base updates I need to look at. My developer emailed me at 7:00 and said, "Hey, the dev site has all these updates you wanted. Now we can look at doing some of the league manager stuff." So I need to go look at that. If you haven't signed up for Fantasy Disc Golf, remember, go to skipbase.com. If you want to support that and Smashbox, go to patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. And I am your host, John Van Derzen. Thanks, Terry Miller, for trying your best to get on from Koh Samui. I feel really bad that it didn't work, and that you're stuck there in like the perfect 70-degree weather, and we're stuck here in 30-degree Wisconsin weather. Don't come back. I just don't. Just stay. Just go right from there to the Pro Tour. I wouldn't bother coming back to Wisconsin. Fly your family over there. So we'll see you next week for episode 283, when we'll figure out who our guest is, and we'll see if Terry can get on from whatever island he happens to be on. If not, I'll prep the show a little better, and we'll have a really great time. So thanks, and have a good night.